Army. That is a scary sight to see someone in that regard do something like this. Let's shift gears to talk about what's going on in Vegas. And you mentioned the social media platforms. This by Elon Musk posting this, talking about this here on Live Now from Fox, talking about what happened in Las Vegas. He says it appears likely to be an act of terrorism. Both the Cybertruck and the F-150 suicide bomb in New Orleans were rented by Turo. Perhaps they were linked in some way. So Elon Musk, obviously not a law enforcement officer, talking about this, but this is also the scene in Las Vegas right now that we are continuing to monitor. Hopefully we'll get an update on them from that. How does the law enforcement, how does the FBI link these two? And do you believe that is a possibility that what happened in New Orleans and Las Vegas could be linked? Is that a possibility in your eyes?
It's a possibility, but I'm a little suspect of the incident here in Las Vegas today. It could be linked. Anything's possible. I always look at probabilities. I'm far more concerned about. I watched the video on this Cybertruck incident here in Las Vegas, and it looks like the explosion of it was a cluster of fireworks in the back of that Cybertruck. So, not to say that fireworks haven't been used in the past as a kind of a incendiary IED type device, but a little bit more. Not really what the terrorism 101 is kind of teaching over in the in the training camps that the Al Qaeda guys and the ISIS folks used to run back in the day, and still do to this day. So I'm kind of hold my breath a little bit on the incident here in Las Vegas to see if this wasn't something more along the lines of a suicidal subject who wanted to make a statement on his way out.
All right, very good. I just wanted to ask you because I think of people just based on the timing, finding it hard to believe that those two were not linked, but that is good perspective in your eyes. And I want to ask you, because maybe you don't believe that those two are linked, in terms of what happened in New Orleans, what are you viewing? What are you looking for a potential next attack or a potential anything down the road? What else are you trying to view and look for?
And it's just such a hard question to answer. I mean, what you saw in New Orleans is kind of that traditional, in the old, what we were battling about 2012 to 15 in that time frame. It was a do what you can where you're at attack. You don't have to come over and train in our camps. You don't have to travel to the Middle East and go through all these security intelligence checkpoints through multiple countries that are kind of working together. Just get them radicalized over the phones, get them radicalized through encrypted messaging, and tell them, just drive the car into the crowd, go buy a very inexpensive firearm. You buy them legally. I mean, it's not impossible. It's very easy to go buy a firearm and just conduct a low-level attack. And so when I see what happens here in Las Vegas today versus what happens in New Orleans, the obvious attack in New Orleans was done to maximize as many victims as possible. I think that subject was more than wanting to get out and conduct a shooting and go into an active shooter event. Whether he was, knocked semi-unconscious from the crash, law enforcement was immediately there to kind of engage him, and he shot two officers there, which ended that terrorism attack. Versus what you kind of saw here this morning at the tower at the hotel. Why not just drive that Cybertruck into the hotel and blow it up, and then try to kill more people? Why not? There's so many other soft targets that you can target there. So that's why I'm a little bit suspect on those two. But as far as New Orleans is concerned, I mean, they just have to be on such a heightened state of awareness right now. You're going to have a lot of information sharing between FBI agents, FBI personnel, leadership, and then the state and local folks that are, sometimes they don't always get along. They tend to sometimes, not always, but sometimes can butt heads with each other because frontline cops, frontline New Orleans police officers, and their leadership, they want to guarantee safety of their city, as where the FBI is more of we need to look for prosecution, kind of slow things down and take it step by step. So it's just, they've got to have everything in there. They've got to assume for the worst and just hope for the best right now. And, cops and law enforcement, we have to get it right 100% of the times. These bad guys get one thing in, and look what it's done for our country on the first day of a new year.
Yeah, that is so very true. A lot of pressure on them to get it right, get it as quickly as possible, maybe not fast. But like you mentioned, the police commissioner down in New Orleans said the driver was, quote, hell-bent on creating carnage and damage that he did. So that is a good example and why you don't believe that those two are linked. In terms of what comes next, because we're still some 12 hours, 14 hours since this incident happened early at around 3 a.m. local time in New Orleans. What comes next in your eyes? What are you hoping to hear from law enforcement? What are you hoping to see in terms of evidence or information that comes out?
The identification of any potential accomplices, or if there's a potential threat to other cities or continuing threat within New Orleans. That's the main concern right now. And then is this the start of some kind of a bigger plot against the homeland? Is this the first lob of the first shot across the bow in a series of potential targeted attacks? I'm really hoping that's not the case. I hope this is one lone incident, but I'm very nervous for this year. I'm very concerned as a security professional and a person who conducts consultations now in the private sector for security folks. It's a scary time.
Yeah, no, I agree. Ashton Pack, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, your insight, very fluid information, but the death toll risen to 15 just since we first started speaking. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you as always. We appreciate it here on Live Now from Fox. Thanks again.
Thank you for having me under the circumstances, and everyone be safe. Thank you.
Of course. All right. Thank you again. All right. Let's continue on here on Live Now from Fox. Great conversation as a very dynamic, fluid situation going on in a variety of locations. Of course, in New Orleans, where this initial attack took place, we are learning now not 10 people, but 15 people have been tragically killed, according to the coroner in that city in New Orleans, as they are looking into the motive and potential accomplices, as they have said that this individual might have been working with other people. They captured surveillance of three men and a woman placing one of multiple improvised explosive devices. So that is a concern for law enforcement. Also in New Orleans and in Houston, they are looking into the home of an individual associated with this terror attack in New Orleans. So you can see the SWAT team there very much on hand for this. We'll speak to our Fox 26 team coming up here in just a little bit. Let's slide away, though, for a 2-minute timeout.